Hey everyone. Our weekly language reviews are split by quarters and we are on a trimester system. So that is why it says Q2 colon 1, because this would be the beginning of the second quarter of the year. But again, we are on trimesters. So we follow a 12-week period instead of an 8-week period. So, or 9-week period, I think it is. So, yeah, that's the reason it's off by just a little bit. So here we go with Monday. Here's our box of words that we're going to use for the week. We have contentment, sickness, achievement, sadness, alignment, dictum, verdict, and wilderness. And let's go ahead and go through the answer for the week. Write the possessive noun. The children's toys are all over the house. So children is plural. And then we can just add an apostrophe and then an S. The children's toys are all over the house. Is a simple, compound, or complex? I see a comma here, so I'm going to assume it's not simple. And then I'm going to see, do I have two independent clauses separated by a comma and a conjunction? Or do I have a dependent clause and an independent clause? I do not want to upset her, but I can't play in the game this Saturday. So I have two sentences here. I do not want to upset her. I can't play in the game this Saturday. They are joined by a conjunction, the word but. Therefore, this is a compound sentence and not complex. Again, the common conjunctions go along with the acronym FANBOYS: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So those are the most common conjunctions, but that's not all of the conjunctions. You still have things like however, therefore, so on and so forth. Name the type of figurative language. We have an idiom, a hyperbole, or personification. Remember, as we've seen in the past, we'll do this where we answer what type of idiom this is, or not idiom, I'm sorry, figurative language this is, and potentially have to explain it. So be thinking about why it is that. The fire crackled merrily in the fireplace. So it crackled merrily, meaning it was happy. And this would be personification, right? We're saying that it was doing it in a happy way. Crackle, 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 crackle. And that's not exactly how a fireplace works. Now we have to write a simile. And let's see. We've seen so many examples. She was as tiny as a fairy. How about this? Her eyes were as blue as the ocean. So I'm comparing her color of the color of her eyes to the blue of the ocean. So I'm comparing two things, but I'm using like or as to make the comparison. So that is what defines a simile versus a metaphor. And then circle the correct pronoun. Is it subjective or objective? Emily and I, or me, went to the movies last Friday night. So again, we're looking at subjective or objective pronouns. And just to give you an idea of what the difference is, a subjective pronoun is personal. It's the subject of the verb. So, for example, I, you, he, or maybe I'll make a list for you down here at the bottom, just so you guys know what a subjective pronoun is versus an objective pronoun. So we have subjective versus objective. Subjective is I, you, he, she, It, we, they, and who. And objective is me, you, could be you as well. But him, her, again, potentially it, us, them, and whom. So that's subjective versus objective. So you can see we have a subjective choice and an objective choice. And so there is a small rule governing when we use I versus me. And typically that using me or I in a sentence is when you are doing the action. So I would be I went to the store, whereas me when you're receiving the action. So let me see if I can better explain this. So if I said Sally and I went to the store, we would use that because Sally and I were doing the action. However, if I was saying me, there would be as though they gave it to Sally and me because it's happening to you. So again, hard to explain, but subjective would be more if you were the object or if you were doing the verb, whereas objective would be as if the verb was happening to you. So in this case, the verb went. Who went to the movies? Emily did, as well as I did. So in this case, it's I went to the movies. The other rule, and this is more of the hard and fast rule that I like to use, is if I chopped Emily off, wait, that sounds terribly mean. If I removed her name from the sentence, would the sentence still make sense? I went to the movies last Friday night. Or me went to the movies last Friday night. Well, me went to the movies last Friday night doesn't make any sense at all. So there, in this case, I would make more sense. So in this case, it's Emily and I went to the movies last Friday night. So it is I, and in this case, it is subjective. And we'll be practicing that throughout the week, so you'll hear me say it again and again and again and again and again. Bye.